Dear one, if you feel like you've been auditioning for love, I want you to rest for a moment right here with me. I know what it feels like to check your words after you've spoken them, to replay a conversation in your mind, to wonder if you sounded wrong, if you were too quiet, too loud, too much, not enough, and if your heart has been living on little crumbs of approval, someone's smile, someone's praise, someone's good job. I want you to know something gently and clearly. You are not here to earn your right to exist. You are not here to beg for permission to be you. You are here to come home to yourself. Take a slow breath with me now. Let your shoulders drop. Let your jaw soften. Let your belly relax, even if only a little. You don't have to hold yourself so tightly in this moment. Some of us learned very early that love was something we had to qualify for. We learned that being good meant being approved of. We learned that safety meant keeping everyone pleased, keeping the peace, keeping our needs small enough to fit neatly into other people's expectations. And if you learned that, sweetheart, it makes perfect sense that you might still be living that way now. You might be the one who over-explains, the one who apologizes for taking up space, the one who says it's fine when it isn't, the one who can sense disappointment in a room like a sudden change in weather, and then your nervous system thinks, oh, I have to fix this, I have to fix me. If that's you, there is nothing wrong with you. You adapted, you learned, you survived, and now you can learn something new. Because the truth is, approval feels good, but it can become a kind of borrowed sunlight. It warms you for a moment, and then it disappears, and you feel cold again. So you chase another ray, another compliment, another yes, another sign that you're still acceptable. But sweetheart, your worth was never meant to depend on weather. Your worth is not seasonal. Your worth is not a performance. It is who you are. And as you begin to stop seeking approval, you may discover the quiet, steady feeling of being held by your own love, not by force, not by pretending, but by returning again and again to a relationship with yourself that is kind. I'm sharing this as a practice of perspective, not as a replacement for professional support. If you're working through deep trauma, anxiety, or depression, it can be very helpful to have loving, skilled guidance. And these gentle tools can walk alongside that support like a candle in the dark. Now let me share something beautiful that I've learned. Many of us confuse approval with love. They are not the same. Approval is conditional. It says, I like you when you do it my way. Love is spacious. It says, I see you, I respect you, you matter. And self-love, real self-love, is the soil where your life begins to bloom. So let's begin softly, right where you are. I invite you to place one hand over your heart if that feels comfortable, and say silently or out loud this simple phrase, I come home to myself. Say it again. I come home to myself. And one more time, dear one, as if you're speaking to a child you adore, I come home to myself. Feel the difference in your body when you say that, even if it's subtle, even if it's just a tiny exhale. That's your system recognizing safety, not because the world approved of you, but because you chose to be with you. Many of us learned early that being good meant being approved of. And I want to honor that because it didn't come from nowhere. Children are brilliant. They are sensitive. They read the room. They learn what gets them connection. They learn what gets them attention. They learn what gets them less conflict. They learn what gets them love or what looks like love. Sometimes a child learns, if I'm quiet, I'm safer. Sometimes a child learns, if I achieve, I'm lovable. Sometimes a child learns, if I take care of everyone else, I won't be abandoned. And those beliefs can settle into the mind like old furniture. You don't even notice it anymore. It's just there. And then you become an adult, and you're still living in that old house. You're still arranging your life around the furniture of someone else's expectations. I've learned that we don't heal by blaming our past. We heal by meeting it with compassion. We heal by saying, "Of course I learned that, and now I'm ready for something kinder." So I want you to imagine your inner life as a home. Not a perfect home, a real home. With rooms you haven't entered in a long time. With windows that might need opening. With corners that have collected dust because you were too busy keeping other people comfortable. And sweetheart, the first step is simply this: return to your own home. Because when you live for approval, you live like a guest in your own life. You ask others, "Is it okay if I sit here? Is it okay if I speak? Is it okay if I want this?" You wait for a nod, a smile, a permission slip. But you are the rightful resident of your own being. You get to decide. And you may notice resistance right away. The mind might say, "If I stop pleasing, I'll lose people." The mind might say, "If I love myself, I'll become selfish." The mind might say, "If I take up space, I'll be punished." Let's hold those thoughts gently. They are not villains. They are old protectors. They are like anxious guards at the door of your heart. They learned their job a long time ago. So we don't fight them. We reassure them. We say, "Thank you for trying to keep me safe, and I am safe to choose myself now." Try a practical moment today. When you feel the urge to over-explain, pause. Just pause. Before you send the text, before you add another paragraph, before you apologize for existing, take one breath and ask yourself quietly, am I speaking from my truth or from my fear? You don't have to judge the answer. Just notice it. Noticing is power. Noticing is the beginning of change. And when you notice fear, you can respond with kindness. You can say, "Sweetheart, I see you and I come home to myself." Now, seeking approval can feel like chasing sunlight with a cup that never stays full. Have you ever noticed that? One compliment comes and it feels like relief, but it fades. And then you need another and another. And you become exhausted because you're trying to drink light out of a cup that was never meant to hold it. Approval is external. It is outside of you. It is as changeable as weather. One person is pleased, another isn't. One day you're praised, the next day you're ignored. And if your worth is tied to that, your nervous system is on a roller coaster. But self-love is internal. It is a lamp you carry, even when the sky is cloudy. Now, this is not about pretending you don't care what anyone thinks. That's not the goal. We are human. We want connection. We want belonging. We want to be seen. The shift is this: you no longer abandon yourself to be accepted. You no longer sell your peace for someone else's comfort. You no longer trade your truth for applause. And yes, at first that can feel scary, because your mind may say, "Oh, but what if they disapprove?" And this is where we learn something incredibly healing. Disapproval is uncomfortable, but it is not fatal. It is not proof that you are wrong. It is not proof that you are unlovable. It is simply someone else's perspective. And you may discover over time that you can survive someone's disappointment. You can survive someone's no. You can survive someone's misunderstanding. And in surviving it, you become freer. Here's a gentle practice I've used and taught, and many people find it soothing. When you feel the sting of not being approved of, place your hand on your heart and say, "I am willing to be on my own side. I am willing to stay with myself. I am willing to love myself through this moment." Say it slowly. Let your body receive it, and then take another breath and remind yourself, "I come home to myself." The moment you notice you're shrinking, that is the moment you can choose yourself. Shrinking can look like many things. It can look like laughing at a joke that hurts you. It can look like changing your opinion mid-sentence because someone raised an eyebrow. It can look like saying yes while your stomach tightens. It can look like swallowing your needs and calling it being easygoing. And sweetheart, let's be honest, many of us were praised for shrinking. We were called good, mature, helpful, low maintenance. But there is a quiet grief in that because the real you was trying to breathe under the weight of being convenient. So I want to invite you into a kinder question. Instead of, how do I get them to like me? Try, how do I treat myself with love right now? That's the pivot. That's the turn. And it can be tiny. It doesn't have to be dramatic. Maybe you treat yourself with love by telling the truth in a simple sentence. Maybe you treat yourself with love by letting the other person be uncomfortable without rushing to rescue them. Maybe you treat yourself with love by resting instead of proving. Maybe you treat yourself with love by not volunteering for one more thing when you're already empty. And the mind may protest. The mind may say, but what if they think I'm selfish? Sweetheart, your nervous system may have learned that boundaries equal danger. But boundaries are not danger. Boundaries are clarity. Boundaries are the language of self-respect. And self-respect is one of the most loving gifts you can give the world because it teaches others how to treat you. Let me share something I discovered on my own journey. I used to believe that if I could just get everyone to approve of me, I would finally feel secure. I believed that approval would quiet the fear, but what I learned is that the fear doesn't quiet from outside. It quiets when you become your own safe place. It quiets when you stop leaving yourself, and it quiets when you return. So if you catch yourself shrinking today, don't shame yourself. Just notice, and then choose a different action, even a small one. Try this sentence, dear one, if you need it. I need a moment to think about that. Or this one, let me get back to you. Or this one, so simple and so powerful. No, thank you. And then breathe. Let your body learn that you can say no and still be okay. Self-love is not a performance. It's a practice of staying present with your own heart. So many people think self-love is something you achieve, like a perfect relationship status. Like one day you wake up and you never doubt yourself again. But self-love, sweetheart, is a daily practice. It is a way of meeting yourself. It's how you speak to yourself when you make a mistake. It's how you treat yourself when you're tired. It's how you hold yourself when you feel embarrassed. It's how you respond when you're not chosen, not praised, not included. Self-love says, I'm still here with you. I want you to imagine a small candle inside your chest. That candle is your worth. That candle is not lit by other people. It does not require applause to burn. It's your own light. And when you seek approval, it's as if you keep running outside with that candle, asking strangers to guard it for you. Some will, some won't. Some don't even notice. And you end up anxious because you don't know who is holding your light. But when you practice self-love, you keep your candle with you. You cup your hands around it. You protect it with gentle attention. And you may notice something. When you stop begging others to protect your light becomes steadier. And that steadiness changes the way people respond to you. Not because you are manipulating them, but because you are no longer vibrating with fear. Now here's an important truth. People who benefit from your people-pleasing may not like this change. They may prefer the old version of you. That doesn't mean your growth is wrong. It means the relationship is adjusting. And adjustment can feel uncomfortable. So let's bring compassion to that. You can love people and still choose yourself. You can be kind and still have limits. You can be generous and still be honest. You can be loving and still say, "This doesn't work for me." Try a practical self-love moment today. Look into a mirror just for a few seconds. I know that can be uncomfortable. Be gentle. Look at your own eyes and say softly, "I am learning to love you. I am willing to approve of you. I am willing to be on your side." Notice what comes up. If you feel resistance, don't force it. Just breathe. Just keep it simple. And if all you can say is, "I'm here," that's enough. I'm here. I come home to myself. Boundaries are not walls, sweetheart. They are doors you learn to open and close with love. Some people hear the word boundary and imagine coldness, distance, rejection. But a boundary, when it is healthy, is a door with a handle on your side. You decide when it opens, you decide when it closes, and you can still speak with love while you do it. For the approval seeker, boundaries can feel terrifying, because approval seeking often comes from an old fear. If I say no, I won't be loved. So we say yes to keep love close. But sweetheart, love that requires your self-abandonment is not the kind of love your soul is longing for. You deserve love that includes you. So let's practice a boundary that is both kind and clear. Here are a few ways it can sound in real life. Instead of over-explaining, you might say, "I won't be able to do that," or "That doesn't work for me," or "I understand and my answer is still no." Do you feel the strength in that? It's not harsh. It's not cruel. It's honest. And honesty is respectful. You might notice guilt. You might notice a tightness in your chest. That's okay. That's your nervous system learning something new. You can hold that feeling and still keep your boundary. Let yourself have the feeling without obeying it. This is very important, sweetheart. Feelings are information. They are not commands. So when guilt arises, you can say, "I can feel guilty and still choose myself. I can feel uncomfortable and still be honest. I can feel afraid and still be free." And then take a breath and return. "I come home to myself." Now, there's another layer to this. Sometimes we seek approval because we learn to measure our value by being needed. We become the helper, the fixer, the caretaker. We anticipate everyone's needs because it gives us a place. But your place in this world is not earned by exhaustion. You are worthy even when you rest. You are lovable even when you say no. You belong even when you are not performing. Practical application. Choose one small boundary this week, just one. Something gentle, something doable. Maybe you stop answering texts immediately. Maybe you stop volunteering to solve a problem that isn't yours. Maybe you say, "I'm not available for that." And then you soothe yourself after. You don't leave yourself alone with the discomfort. You stay. You might even do something nurturing after you set a boundary. A cup of tea, a walk, a warm shower, a hand on your heart. This teaches your body, when I choose myself, I am still safe. I am still loved by me. When someone disapproves of you, it does not mean you are unsafe or unworthy. Let's talk about this because it's one of the biggest knots in the approval-seeking pattern. When someone is disappointed, the approval seeker often feels danger. Not logical danger, emotional danger. It's as if the body remembers an old time when disapproval meant withdrawal, criticism, or punishment. So the body reacts as if you must fix it immediately. And sweetheart, the body can learn something new. Here is what I want you to remember. Someone else's feelings are not your job to manage. That doesn't mean you're unkind. It means you're not responsible for controlling their inner world. You can be compassionate without being responsible. Imagine just for a moment that you are standing at your garden gate. Inside your garden are your thoughts, your values, your peace, your time, your energy. Outside the gate are other people's opinions, moods, and expectations. You can listen at the gate. You can have a conversation at the gate, but you do not have to hand them the keys. Some people will knock with kindness. Some will knock with demand. Some will knock with guilt. Your job is to decide what enters, and when disapproval arrives, you can stand at that gate and say, "I hear you." You can consider feedback if it's helpful. You can adjust if it aligns with your values. But you do not have to collapse. Here is a practical reframe that can help. When someone disapproves, ask yourself, is this about my values or their preferences? Values are things like honesty, kindness, respect, integrity. Preferences are things like, I want you to do it my way. I want you to respond faster. I want you to be available whenever I want. If it's about values, you can respond with care and take responsibility where needed. If it's about preferences, you can let them have their feelings without making it about your worth. And this is freedom, sweetheart, and I know it takes practice. So try this in small moments. The next time you notice that panicky urge to fix someone's mood, pause. Take one breath, put a hand on your heart, and say, I am safe even if they are unhappy. I am worthy even if they disagree. I come home to myself. Then choose a calm response or choose no response. Sometimes the most loving thing is not to rush. Let silence be your strength. Let your nervous system learn that you don't have to sprint every time someone frowns. Now, another reason we seek approval is because we mistake other people's opinions for truth. We think, if they think I'm wrong, I must be wrong. But opinions are not truth. They are lenses. They are shaped by someone's experiences, fears, and expectations. You do not have to live inside someone else's lens. You get to look through your own eyes. You get to decide what you believe about yourself, and that is self-love. There is a tender place in many hearts that says, if I love myself, I'll become selfish. Let's dissolve that fear gently. Self-love is not selfish. Self-love is self-responsibility. Self-love is the willingness to treat yourself with the same kindness you offer others. If you would never speak to a friend the way you speak to yourself, then, sweetheart, it's time to change the conversation. It's time to become your own compassionate friend. So I invite you to notice your inner voice, not with judgment, with curiosity. When you make a mistake, does your inner voice say, of course you messed up? When someone is upset, does your inner voice say, it's your fault? When you rest, does your inner voice say, you're lazy? That voice is not you. It's learned. And learned can be unlearned. You can begin to replace it with a voice that sounds like love. Try this phrase quietly when self-criticism appears. Sweetheart, I'm learning. That's it. Sweetheart, I'm learning. And then ask, what would love say right now? Love might say, it's okay. Love might say, try again. Love might say, you're still worthy. Love might say, you don't have to punish yourself. And then you breathe. You return. I come home to myself. Your life begins to change when you stop asking, do you like me? And start asking, do I like how I'm treating myself? This is such a powerful question. Because when your focus is on approval, your attention is outward. You're scanning, measuring, guessing. You're trying to read minds. And that is exhausting. But when your focus is on how you treat yourself, your attention returns inward. You become present. You become grounded. You become the author of your life instead of the performer of your life. Now, let me be clear, dear one. This doesn't mean you never care about feedback. Growth is beautiful. Learning is beautiful. Relationships require communication. But it means you stop using other people as your mirror. You become your own mirror. You decide what is true. And here's what you may notice as you practice this. Your choices become cleaner. Your yes becomes sincere. Your no becomes calm. Your relationships become more honest. And the people who truly love you may feel relieved because they can finally meet the real you. And if someone cannot handle the real you, that doesn't mean you are wrong. It means they are attached to a version of you that was easier to control. And sweetheart, you are not here to be controlled. You are here to be free. Freedom doesn't always feel comfortable at first. It can feel like stepping out of a tight shoe. At first, your foot is tender. You notice sensations you didn't notice before. But then, relief, space, breath. So let's make this very practical. Here are 3 daily moments to practice self-approval. First, morning. Before you look at your phone, before you check messages, before you check the world, check in with you. Place a hand on your heart and say, I approve of myself today. I choose to be kind to myself today. I come home to myself. Second, midday. When you feel yourself rushing, pleasing, overperforming, pause for 60 seconds. Breathe in slowly, breathe out gently, and ask, what do I need right now? Maybe you need water. Maybe you need a stretch. Maybe you need to stop and finish one thing instead of starting 5, and then give yourself one small kindness. Third, evening. Before sleep, notice one moment when you chose yourself, even if it was tiny. Maybe you didn't apologize unnecessarily. Maybe you said, I'll get back to you. Maybe you didn't chase someone's mood. And then say, I am proud of me. I am learning to love me. I am safe with me. Many people find that these small practices, repeated over time, begin to build trust inside, not perfection, trust. And trust is what the approval seeker is really longing for, the ability to trust that you will not abandon yourself. Now let's speak about relationships, because this is where approval seeking shows up so strongly. Sometimes we seek approval because we're afraid of being alone. We think, if I'm not agreeable, I'll lose love. So we tolerate things that hurt. We accept crumbs. We stay quiet to keep someone close. But sweetheart, you can be in a relationship and still be alone if you are not allowed to be yourself. And you can be alone and still be deeply held by life if you are aligned with your own heart. So self-love asks, where am I betraying myself to be chosen? That's a tender question. And you don't need to answer it all at once. You can explore it with compassion. Maybe you betray yourself by pretending you don't care. Maybe you betray yourself by laughing things off. Maybe you betray yourself by saying yes when you want no. And then softly you begin to choose differently. You begin to say, this matters to me. You begin to say, that doesn't feel good to me. You begin to say, I need respect. You begin to say, I need rest. And if that feels frightening, start small. Start in low-risk situations. Practice boundaries with people who are safer. Practice honesty in gentle ways, because your nervous system learns by experience. And each time you choose yourself and you survive it, your body begins to believe you. Now, sometimes people think self-love is about pushing yourself, but often self-love is about softening. It's about letting yourself be human. Have you ever noticed how harsh we can be with ourselves? We tell ourselves to be stronger, better, faster, calmer, more confident right now. But sweetheart, growth is like a garden. It doesn't bloom because you yell at it. It blooms because it is tended. So treat your heart like a garden. Your thoughts are seeds. Your words are water. Your attention is sunlight. If you constantly seek approval, it's like pulling up the seed every day to see if it's growing. Is it working? Am I lovable yet? Did they like me? But when you practice self-love, you leave the seed in the soil. You trust the process. You water it with kindness. You give it time. You may discover that your life begins to respond to you differently, not instantly, not magically, but naturally, as you change the way you treat yourself. You may notice you attract relationships that feel more respectful. You may notice you feel less anxious in conversations. You may notice you take up space with less apology. These are real shifts, and they are built gently, one choice at a time. Now let's do a short practice together, right now, as if we are sitting in the same room. Take a breath in and breathe out. Let your face soften. And I invite you to imagine that you are standing at the doorway of your inner home. You've been away for a long time, dear one. You've been out in the world trying to earn welcome, and now you are turning the key. You open the door. Inside there is quiet. Inside there is space. Inside there is you. And you step in. You don't rush. You don't criticize the dust. You don't shame yourself for being gone. You simply arrive. And you say softly, "Hello, sweetheart, I'm here now. I'm not leaving you. I come home to myself." Breathe again. And if tears come, let them come. Tears are water. They cleanse. They soften. They are not weakness. They are release. Now here is another important truth. When you stop seeking approval, you might face a wave of grief. You might realize how long you've been trying to earn love. You might see how many times you abandoned your needs, and that can feel tender. So be gentle with yourself. Grief is not a setback. It's a healing sign. It means your heart is waking up, and you can meet that grief with love. You can say, "I forgive myself for the times I didn't know how to choose me. I forgive myself for the times I shrank. I forgive myself for the times I tried to earn what I deserved all along. I am learning now. I am here now. I come home to myself." Now let's speak about that moment when you feel judged. That moment when you post something online and then you spiral. That moment when you share an idea at work and then you wonder if you sounded stupid. That moment when you set a boundary and then you feel your heart pound. This is where you practice a new inner response. Instead of reaching outward, checking, asking, apologizing, reach inward. Put a hand on your heart and say, "Even if they don't approve, I approve of me. Even if they misunderstand, I am still worthy. Even if they leave, I remain with myself." Now you may not believe it at first. That's okay. Affirmations are not about forcing belief. They are about planting new seeds. They are about offering your mind a new pathway. And over time, as you repeat them gently, as you back them up with small actions, your inner world begins to shift. Let's add a set of affirmations you can return to throughout your week. I'll say them, and you can repeat them softly if you like. I am enough as I am. I allow myself to be seen. I choose to be on my side. I trust my inner knowing. I come home to myself. Again, dear one, I am enough as I am. I allow myself to be seen. I choose to be on my side. I trust my inner knowing. I come home to myself. And one more time, like a gentle lullaby. I am enough as I am. I allow myself to be seen. I choose to be on my side. I trust my inner knowing. I come home to myself. Now, you might wonder, but what if I lose people? Let's be honest. When you change, some relationships change. Some people may drift, some may resist, some may adjust, and some will deepen because they can finally meet you more honestly. And this is part of growth, and it's not a punishment, it's alignment. When you stop seeking approval, you stop bending your life into shapes that hurt you. And when you stop bending, you learn who loves you straight. That's a tender truth, sweetheart, and you don't have to rush it. You can let it unfold gently. You can trust that you are being guided toward relationships that honor your truth. And if you feel lonely in the process, you can hold yourself with compassion. You can say, this is a season of becoming. Seasons change. They always do. The winter doesn't last forever. The garden blooms again. Now, let's talk about the body for a moment. The approval-seeking pattern often lives in the body. It's not just thoughts. It's a reflex. The tight chest, the shallow breath, the urge to fix. So when you notice it, don't only talk to your mind, talk to your body. Try this simple grounding. Press your feet into the floor. Feel the support beneath you. Breathe in through your nose and breathe out slowly. Then say, in this moment I am safe. In this moment I am here. In this moment I choose me. This can help calm the nervous system so you can respond instead of react. Because approval seeking is often a reaction. Self-love is a response. And you are learning to respond. You are learning to pause. You are learning to choose. Now, there is something very powerful about approving of yourself, especially in the moments when you think you least deserve it. When you make a mistake, approve of yourself for being human. When you are rejected, approve of yourself for having the courage to try. When you are criticized, approve of yourself for being willing to grow without self-hate. When you feel insecure, approve of yourself for noticing and caring. Approval from others is not the measure of your worth. Your willingness to love yourself is. So here is another practical tool. Write down the phrase, I approve of myself. Put it somewhere you will see it, on a note, on your mirror, on your phone. And every time you see it, pause for 2 seconds and say it. I approve of myself. Even if you don't feel it, even if you feel silly. 2 seconds, sweetheart. 2 seconds is how new habits begin. Now let's explore one more layer. Perfectionism. Many approval seekers become perfectionists. If you do it perfectly, no one can disapprove, right? But perfectionism is not peace. Perfectionism is fear dressed up as discipline. And it keeps you trapped. So what if, instead of trying to be perfect, you practiced being real? What if you allowed yourself to be a little messy? What if you allowed yourself to learn in public? What if you allowed yourself to be imperfect and still lovable? That is freedom. And freedom is deeply healing. So today, try a small imperfection on purpose. Nothing dangerous, nothing harmful, just something that loosens the grip. Maybe you leave a message short instead of over-polished. Maybe you say, I don't know, without apologizing. Maybe you share an idea that isn't fully formed, and then you notice the world didn't end. You're still here, you're still worthy, and you come home to yourself. Now, sweetheart, I want to speak directly to the part of you that is tired. Tired of trying, tired of pleasing, tired of scanning for approval, tired of being the one who makes everything okay. And I want you to hear this clearly. You do not have to earn rest. You are allowed to rest. You are allowed to say no. You are allowed to change your mind. You are allowed to have needs. You are allowed to take up space. And you are allowed to love yourself. Not someday, not after you fix everything. Now. Love is not a prize for good behavior. Love is your natural state, and you can return to it. One breath at a time, one choice at a time, one kind word at a time. Now let's begin to integrate this into a new way of living. When you wake up and your mind starts scanning, what do I need to do to be like today? Pause and ask, what do I want to feel today? Maybe you want to feel calm, maybe you want to feel clear, maybe you want to feel grounded. Then ask, what choice supports that feeling? This is self-love in action. Maybe it's saying no to something draining. Maybe it's saying yes to something nourishing. Maybe it's taking a break. Maybe it's speaking up. And each time you choose the choice that supports your well-being, you build self-trust. And self-trust is the opposite of approval-seeking, because when you trust yourself, you no longer need strangers to hold your worth. You hold it gently, steadily, like a candle. Now, dear one, let's do a final practice together, a closing that you can carry into your day. Take a breath in and breathe out. Let your shoulders soften and imagine once more the inner home. You walk through your own rooms with kindness, and you open a window and you let fresh air in, you let light in. You place your hand on your heart and you say, I am willing to love you. I am willing to approve of you. I am willing to be faithful to you. I am willing to choose you. I come home to myself. Again, sweetheart, I am willing to love you. I am willing to approve of you. I am willing to be faithful to you. I am willing to choose you. I come home to myself. And one last time, as a promise, I am willing to love you. I am willing to approve of you. I am willing to be faithful to you. I am willing to choose you. I come home to myself. Now let's recap the transformation you are stepping into. You are learning to notice the old pattern without shaming it. You are learning to pause instead of perform. You are learning to treat yourself with kindness, especially when you feel vulnerable. You are learning to set boundaries as loving doors. You are learning that disapproval is not danger. You are learning that your worth is not weather. And most of all, you are learning to stay with yourself, to stay on your side, to become your own safe place. And as you practice over time, you may discover something quiet and miraculous. You may discover that the love you have been chasing is the love you were meant to give yourself, not as a replacement for connection, but as the foundation for it. Because when you love yourself, you no longer beg to be chosen. You choose people who honor you. You choose environments that support you. You choose words that respect your truth. You choose a life that feels like yours. So go gently, dear one. You don't have to fix everything today. You don't have to become fearless overnight. You just have to take one step toward yourself. And if you forget, if you slip into old habits, if you find yourself seeking approval again, don't punish yourself. Just return. Return like you would return to a garden after rain. Return like you would return to light after a long night. Return like you would return to a home that has been waiting for you with the door open and say, I come home to myself. I approve of myself. I choose to love myself. And I am willing more and more each day to live as the real me, with love, with softness, with strength, and with a heart that finally knows it belongs right here with you.